team of reporters, columnists, and commentators.
Don't you ever talk about me!
Are you serious?
Jack Ebling has brought thought-provoking discussion.
What are you doing?
That's a damn coaching mistake!
Opinion.
The customer is the one who decides when the future gets here.
Oh, no! The ship is on fire!
You have to check the report.
Are you kidding me? That game was fixed!
And overall infotainment.
I'll take Jim Harbaugh.
What has he done?
Crazy cootie coming at you!
Quiet, please. In exactly 15 seconds, we'll be on the air.
Thanks, big fella.
Don't you ever come back here again!
No arguments. Those are called ass tunes.
So buckle up.
You talking to me?
It's time for The Drive with Jack Ebling.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Great afternoon, Greater Lansing and beyond, and welcome to The Drive with Jack, the Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here with my producer, Boston Rob. Ben Shadle, also in studio today. We are downtown 105 West Allegan, the beautiful Spotlight facilities. 50 degrees today, gentlemen, and supposed to rain tonight, so get ready for some water, but we'll take what we have over what we're going to get early next week when it's back in the mid-20s. Been raining baskets on a lot of East Lansing High School opponents all year long, and even back into last year, and one of the guys who made that happen was named Mr. Basketball. He is Kelvin Torbert Jr., KJ, and a fantastic senior season. But the name, if it sounds familiar, it should. Former Mr. Basketball and the first father-son Mr. Basketball combination is our first guest today. Want to welcome in Kelvin Torbert. Outstanding player, as good as any in the nation when he was at Flint Northwestern and went on and did some great things at Michigan State, including a team that went to the Final Four in 2005. KT, you must be awfully proud. And how did it feel when you heard your son's name announced as the winner?
It definitely was something surreal. It took me back to the days of me finding out when I won, and
yeah,
I think the hardest part of it, Jack, really is, man, when they let you know like that Friday, you're not supposed to, you got to keep that secret the whole weekend.
Yeah.
And I think that's the hardest part of it, and it just having him win it, man, and see all the work that he's put in to try to get to that stage and everything. It just means a lot as a parent, because you love to have a kid that just works hard and goes on and does stuff on his own.
Does it seem like it's been 24 years for you?
25.
25 years. Okay, yeah, right. 25 years. Well, that's perfect. That's symmetry. That's a quarter century. When you think about that, can you remember where you were and how you found out and who told you you were Mr. Basketball?
I was actually at home, and my coach Kirkland told me that
Grover Kirkland?
morning.
Yeah,
he told me that morning. It was right before school, and he just told me like we had to go out to the
Detroit Free Press.
To Detroit later that day.
Yeah.
He told me the day of. So
okay.
It was real crazy. So instead of me going to school, I had to stay home and kind of find something to wear, get a suit, and get ready to go down to Detroit.
If you had known a couple of days before, KT, how hard would it have been for you to keep that secret?
I don't think it would have been hard. I think
You were good.
I mean, we had just lost, so I was pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, I was pretty still beat up on myself, kind of frustrated about losing in the regionals and stuff like that. So I don't think I really talked to many people that weekend. So it would have been pretty easy for me.
Did your son ask you a lot of questions about, okay, what are we getting into here? What do I have to do? Did you give him some advice, or has it changed so much that doesn't matter?
No, he basically asked, like, what's the procedure, how we're going to do things and everything. Yeah. I just told him it's going to be a little press conference, so they make an announcement. Then, it's a lot of meetings. You're going to have to answer a lot of questions with a lot of cameras in your face for a couple hours. And get ready. I told him, get ready to get your game face on. You're going to take a lot of pictures all day.
Well, with the kind of career he has had and will have, he's going to be answering a lot of questions for a long time. So this is probably good practice for that. When did you know what he was capable of doing, KT?
Honestly, Jack, probably I knew. I always thought about it, talked about it, but I honestly knew. And and figured it when he was making the run through the tournament last year. That junior year, just the way he was playing, his team was playing, and the determination I had in him, it really was a point where I was like, he can go out and win this thing. And I mean, and once they won the state championship, that was the motto. That's what me and my brother always sold after that. Like, dude, y'all could be the first father and son. And I mean, before that was never really a thought process.
Yeah. Well, the way he finished last year, I think, put his name firmly in the minds of a lot of people, and coaches voting on this. They certainly, when you do well in the state championship and leading up to it, Gates, you get a long run, and everyone follows you who may not have been following through the course of the regular season. And then if you're a front runner, you just have to live up to that reputation. How did he do that? What made his senior year so special?
The way he came out. I mean, he actually came out the gate rolling. I mean, first game he goes out and gets 30 in front of a Flint crowd that never really got a chance to see him play, but always knew about his dad. So there was like, we want to see what all the hype is about him. And he comes out and puts on the show, gives them 30. So I know that brought over a lot of voters up there and things like that. And then going into another tournament, I think in Ferndale and stuff, he played well against Brother Rice and then things like that. I think he just showed up and played well in all the big games.
Was there one person, KT, in the city of Flint who saw your son and said, you know what, he's better than his old man?
Oh, it's a lot of them. I get it all the time. And I don't argue. I say he is better than me now.
Yeah.
But that's only because I'm 40.
Well, when you came out, you were as big gets, and bigger physically, certainly a little taller and wider, and you had a different game. You had a very contemporary game now in terms of being a dunker and a high flyer. In terms of that, what did you teach your son about basketball? How much of what he is what you were?
A lot of it. I mean, I think when I started with him at a young age, I knew he wasn't going to be, I would say, as girthy as me. So I taught him a lot of the fundamentals and how he got a lot of his footwork. I mean, it's funny because we talk about it like the kid was doing like Euro steps when he was like 4 or 5 years old, because that's what I learned, because I was still playing over in Europe. So I taught him a lot of the footwork and the training that we did in Europe, and it really helped out for him. It really helps out for him today in his game.
You really started working with him that early, and when was he advanced compared to his classmates? Probably the first year he was dribbling a ball, right?
Not really. No, he was still. Well, he was. I mean, when he was younger, he had really big feet. So, I mean, which we knew he was going to groove, but he didn't ever catch up to his feet to probably middle school. So,
right.
And then that's when he started really getting more advanced and getting better with the ball and being a lot better with his footwork and stuff.
In high school, were you 6'3"?
Yeah, 6'3".
And what did you weigh?
Probably about 210. 215.
Okay, and what are your son's dimensions, height and weight, before dinner?
He's probably about 6'2.5".
Okay.
About 190, 195.
Is he stopped growing vertically, or could he get that other half inch and match you?
He probably could. In all honesty, Jack, I actually grew an inch in college. So.
Oh, you got up to 6'4", right? Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So he can still. I think he still can grow another inch or two.
Well, in terms of his game, if you were coaching against him, I don't want to give anyone any information here that they can use before the state championship game, but what do you see as a strength of his game, and what does he still need to work on?
Honestly, I'll try not to let him touch the ball, because he's got so much better at doing everything. Like, he's getting those guys involved, and even the teammates he's got, he's helped them so much. They got so much confidence in themselves and where they're playing, Dad. The best thing you do is try not to let him even get the ball, which is hard because he does rebound the ball well, so he can dribble, push, and things like that. But it's just one of those. And or send a double sometimes when he gets it by himself, which I think Fitzgerald tried to do that before. And I mean, he found a way around that. So I mean, it's hard to say, man. He's really aggressive scorer, and that's still unselfish. So it's an uncanny blend that he has. Like, I was an aggressive scorer in high school, but I wasn't the passer that he is.
Yeah. A lot of people looking forward to seeing him tonight over at the Don Johnson Fieldhouse. East Lansing facing Ann Arbor Pioneer. I think I know who's going to win that game. And then you get on to semifinals and the finals at Breslin Center. Chance to be a back-to-back state champion. There aren't many who can make that claim. You talked about your career coming to an end just before you won Mr. Basketball. KT, what would you have given to be able to say you were a back-to-back state champion?
A lot. Seriously, a lot. I mean, it's just one of those ultimate goals that it lets you know that you're a full-blown winner. Like, just looking back in his career, I think them kids, East Lansing, they only lost 4 or 5 games in the 3 years he's been there. Right. That lets you know that they are just winners over there. I mean, this is their 4th straight Elite Eight. It's like it's just something in that water, and some Ray's doing over there. He's teaching them a good mentality to be team, and they stick together. I mean, even in some of the games this year where you look like they were down, and they found a way. They just found a way to blend together and make a few plays and still win tough games, even when they didn't play the best.
As great a year as KJ has had, it's not a one-player team. That's got to be an advantage in some ways, not just for winning or losing, but not having all the defensive attention. No team can devote as much attention as opponents did to you at Flint Northwestern.
No, definitely not. I mean, even with this team now, I mean, if they want to totally try to take him out, they still got a top 5 player in Kingston that can go out and get you 25 and 10 and things like that. And last year, they didn't have a chance of doubling last year with the team they had with Cam and Kingston and all those guys. I mean, they were just loaded to win. So
you mentioned Ray Mitchell, head coach at East Lansing. Can you talk about him, the job he has done, and how important he has been not just to your son but to his players?
He's done a great job, man. He's really instilled a lot of winning in those guys, and I think that's taking it back to the days of him even working with the Sexton and the Valentines and those guys and things like that. And they and all those kids had a relationship with Ray because even when we played AAU when they were younger, Ray always came in and trained those guys. He did a lot of ball handling and shooting with those kids when they were 10, 11 years old. And, I mean, they remember that. So now it's like they've always known Coach Ray, so they believe in what he's selling them, and it's easy for them to catch on and win games.
KT, there aren't many coaches, I don't have the number in front of me, but there aren't many who can say that they've been involved with back-to-back state champions at 2 different schools, more than a decade apart. But you talk about Sexton and now East Lansing, and there was a period of time when Flint had a state champion almost every year in some class, and they had a long run in a row. And then Lansing had something similar. What is it about an area? It isn't just a player or a team, a school, a program, but an area where it seems like it feeds off each other and everyone gets better.
I think it's mostly just with all those guys growing up together, playing together for years, and ultimately with the community backing them. Like all the great teams have great communities backing those kids, and like even East Lansing community, they all back those guys. Like they play away, they're traveling. The teams are going with them. They got fans everywhere, and I think that's a huge help for those kids, having that support and having those fans that travel all across the state to support them.
The first 2 Mr. Basketball winners in 1981 and 1982 were Sam Vincent, starred at Michigan State, and Robert Henderson, who went on to the University of Michigan. But they were both from Lansing Eastern High School. Do you think there's a chance? You mentioned Kingston Thomas, son of David Thomas, that we could have two Mr. Basketballs on this team, this East Lansing team, before Kingston is done.
Definitely. It's definitely a possibility. Even yesterday at the ceremony, I got a chance to talk to Kingston. I told him, I said, this is the stretch where you make your run, you know?
Yeah.
It's the same time KJ made his run last year. That Final 8 game and Final 4 in the championship. You make a hell of a run those next 3 games. Your name's ringing that whole summer coming into the next year. And then just get off to a good start. Get off to a great start in the next year, and everybody's on your coattail, and they're riding with you. So it's just finishing strong in that junior year and getting off to a great start in that senior year, and you got a hell of a chance, especially with the talent and ability that he has.
We're talking with Kelvin Torbert, Michigan Mr. Basketball 25 years ago. And, wow, feeling a little bit older now. When you think about when you were a senior, and I guess it was well before that you were being recruited, as you look back on your recruitment, how different is it from the way players are recruited nowadays?
It's a lot different. It's a lot different because they have a lot of social media access now where you don't really have to do a lot of in-person and things like that. And for us, it was a lot of in-person. We had coaches flying in, flying out, showing up to games, coaches from all over the country. You had scouts, everything that actually had to be in attendance for us to see, and not like being able to catch the games online and things like that, where we didn't have the streaming of the game. So everybody they wanted to know what the hype was about. They had to be there and get there and show up.
They didn't have name, image, and likeness ability when you were playing in Flint either. You would have had some deals there, I'm sure.
Definitely.
Well, in terms of your recruitment, I want to go back just a little bit here. And when you came to Michigan State, how many schools did you really seriously consider, or did you get it narrowed down pretty quickly?
Honestly, the consideration was, I went a whole year. It was really only 5 schools I actually thought about, which was Michigan State, Duke, North Carolina, Cincinnati, and Connecticut.
5 good ones.
And outside of that, I mean, it didn't just kind of dwindle down after, other guys in my class kind of signed with Duke and North Carolina. They kind of weeded that out and did it. It really came down to that 3. And even with Connecticut, they signed Ben Gordon and Emeka Okafor. They still was holding a spot for me. And and it was like it really came down to those 3 schools, and it was really tough because I did have a former high school teammate that was at UConn. So that was really a close choice and really tough.
What was the deciding factor? What finally tipped it over, and you told Tom Izzo, I want to be a Spartan?
I just think like the family atmosphere, and then just being close to home with my dad and the stuff he was going through. I thought it was ultimately a perfect fit. I mean, ultimately we wanted the ultimate goal of being able to. I was going to come into a role where Charlie and a bunch of those guys are leaving, but we're going to have Marcus, Jason, Zach, and ultimately it would have came into a great team. But I mean, those guys got the opportunity to leave early, and I cherish those guys for that. And it opened up a lot for me. And then even when they left, it was like, okay, you're coming into a spot where you got a lot of chance and opportunity because I mean they're losing 8-9 guys.
I always had a lot of admiration, KT, for the way you handled yourself, because you came in and, you were the star in high school. You could have been selfish. You could have been self-centered. Instead, you were really the ultimate team player. And I don't know if you ever got all the individual goals that some people predicted you would get, but you did wind up in the Final Four. You did wind up among the Big Ten's best three-point shooters. And most people said, well, he's a physical player, he's a dunker. But you always worked on your game, and the team came first. Now, with player mobility being what it is, a lot of guys in your situation wouldn't have made it through all the way. They would have said, I'm going to go for more money or more shots or more something else. Are you glad the way it worked out?
Yeah, I'm definitely glad the way it worked out. I mean, it matured me, made me a better man, and ultimately, like I say, I mean, everybody look back and say, I mean, you didn't have the college career you wanted to, but of course I didn't. But it definitely made me a better professional. Yeah. When I got to the professional ranks, it was so easy for me to blend in and be able to have success. I mean, even my first year out, I was one of the first rookies to ever make the All-Star team in the French country. So it set me up for a lot of success, and it made it way easier for me to just be accustomed to the professional game.
KT, basketball is so much different from football and a lot of other sports in that you can go abroad and play a long time and have a great career, make a lot of money, meet a lot of people, learn a ton of stuff. How long were you playing, and what's the most important or most meaningful thing to you about that experience?
I think I ended up playing, 10 years, and I think the most meaningful experience for me was for me to enjoy that process. Like, not look at it like it was a bad thing, but it wasn't a bad thing. Like, I was traveling the world at 22, 23 years old, seeing 4 countries, making a lot of money. Like, it wasn't a bad thing. It was a hell of a deal. And I had to learn that from one of my older veteran guys from Flint. He used to always tell me that. And I don't know if people might not know the name Marty Embry.
Oh yeah,
that was an older guy, but he always checked in on me. It was like, look, hey, enjoy the process, man. Know that every time you step out there, you're playing for your next check, you're playing for your next deal. So go out there and do your best, and always enjoy the atmosphere, enjoy where you're at, because a lot of people don't get to see the world, and there's still people now that haven't been outside the country. And I can say I've been to probably 20, 30 different countries by the age of 25. So it was a lot of great experiences for me.
Did you learn some language while you were there?
Petit Francais, I did have to learn how to speak French a little bit because most of the Belgian countries I stayed in spoke French, and I did spend 2 years in Paris. So
nice. You mentioned Marty Embry. I remember watching him, Flint Central, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
And then DePaul?
Yep.
Yeah, he was a good player, big guy, very big in the middle. Yeah, Jim Keaton Jr., who's a frequent guest on this show, went up against him a couple of times, I think. When you think about KJ's recruitment, and I was kind of beating the drum last year saying, man, I don't know why he's not getting more attention. I guess now it doesn't matter because you can go anywhere, and if you find the right situation, have a couple good years, who knows where you wind up. But can you talk about his recruitment and schools that it really came down to before he made his decision?
It was definitely a different type of recruitment. I think a lot of schools just didn't want to bite on him. They were all a little fearful of his size. They didn't know if he could be a 2-guard, if he could be a combo guard, and all of that. And I mean, my sell to them was like, he a basketball player. Like it's not like I mean, State had a chance where they had Tyson Walker. He was a basketball player.
Right.
Like it was you never had the size issue. So if he could play, he could play. And
KJ's bigger than Tyson.
He's got an inch or two on Tyson.
Yeah.
So I was like, it came down to, I mean, I think it was Bowling Green and Old Dominion was out there reaching out a little bit. Marquette reached out a little bit at the end, but it was more, I think he just fell in love with the Bowling Green and Tum Tum and that coaching staff, and where they gave him a lot of confidence, they didn't put him in a bubble like, we need you to be a shooting guard, we need you to be a point guard, and things like that. It was just like, we know you can play, and we want you here. And our top guys are 2 guards that are actually leaving this year, so they're going to need a lot of backcourt help. And I mean, that was like music to his ears, like knowing that he can come in and get a chance to play, which something that he likes. But he's one of those kids. He doesn't shy away from competition, so he went anywhere that they told him it was competition, but he could play. So
Well, playing for a very good coach, I think, in Todd, and certainly Tom. I have the utmost respect for Lou Rawls, Tum there. He's going to take very good care of your son. You know that. He does with everything that he touches, so you can feel good about that. Yeah. Looking forward to talking to him. Maybe I will tonight after the game, if not very, very soon. When the season's over, we want to get him in studio, really give him his flowers. He's a little busy today to come on the show with the game he has tonight. But I think when we look back on it in terms of father-son combinations, we're going to add up the points, and we're going to see if anyone can top Team Torbert. Congratulations, KT, for you and for KJ.
Thank you.
Kelvin Torbert, he was a very important part of the 2005 Michigan State Final Four team, and before that, one of the best players in the nation out of Flint Northwestern. We will be right back, and we're going to talk with Jim Stark, Detroit correspondent, about the Tigers. And, he's got a flight to catch, but it's been pushed back a little bit, so he's got some time for us today. And we'll talk about the Pistons as well, and their slide. Hard to figure that one out. The game the other night against the Brooklyn Nets was just completely mind-boggling. When they were up 23, I don't think there was anyone, even on the Nets team, who thought they were going to come back and win that game. They lost 10 in a row. We will be right back on The Drive with Jack.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graph of Okemos. Some great product here in early 2026.
You got it, Jack. Here at Chevy, we have, backed by popular demand, the all-new Bolt. Redesigned and back in full force for us. People are really excited about that vehicle. It did great for us in the past.
Great.
And then next door, the Nissan Sentra, completely redesigned for that model. Great fuel economy. It's going to be a hot seller for us.
Stop and see Matt and the gang at Graph of Okemos. They're making friends.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our team of school bus drivers and attendants. Visit deanjobs.com to see all openings. Dean Transportation provides paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license, increased starting pay, comprehensive benefits, and flexible schedules with no weekend shifts. No experience needed. Apply today at deanjobs.com and train for back-to-school season. That's DEAN jobs.com.
Amy here from One North Kitchen and Bar. Tuesdays are family fun night at One North. Kids under 12 eat free with the purchase of an adult entree. Bring the whole crew to One North in Lansing, Jackson, or now East Lansing. Good food, happy kids, and an easy win for the family every Tuesday.
Are you passionate about college sports? Foster Swift Sports Talk is your go-to podcast dedicated to addressing the hottest topics in college athletics, including recruiting practices, NIL, the trade portal, collectives, and revenue generation.
Join us as we bring you insights from student athletes, college head coaches, administrators, and other industry leaders as they share their experiences in this rapidly changing arena.
Our mission is to share information and help educate student athletes, parents, coaches, and other stakeholders with the knowledge, resources, and strategies they need to make informed decisions and maximize each college athlete's potential for long-term success.
Check out our latest episode where we're joined by Allen Trieu from 24/7 Sports to discuss Midwest recruiting.
Like and subscribe to our YouTube and Facebook pages to watch all of our episodes, or you can give us a listen on any of your favorite podcasting platforms by simply searching Foster Swift Sports Talk. Until next time, I'm your host, Dave Russell.
welcome back. It is the Drive with Jack Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here with my producer, Boston Rob. Nice enough day, Rob, where you see a little bit of driveway basketball just starting. People want to get out, swing the golf clubs a little bit. You see a few people throwing the baseball around, but not the way it used to be. Now it's more of a team-oriented sport, although I would encourage anyone who has any fascination with baseball to stop over at Strikeout Baseball here. And it only takes 2 people. You don't even have to have your own ball. But I want to welcome in Jim Stark, Detroit correspondent, specializing in the Detroit Tigers and the Pistons. Not a lot of wins for those 2 teams the last week or so, Jim.
Well, I'm still down here in Florida for spring training, Jack, for a few more hours anyways, and the Tigers did get a big win today over Boston Rob's favorite, the Boston Red Sox. But, I did have a question that Rob and I brought up on our show last night about Will Vest, because Will Vest has been announced on the team. Well, he only joins the team, the USA team, at the quarterfinal level, which is the pool level is in their last night of competition tonight. And the pretty much USA has the two top teams in each pool will go on to the quarterfinals, and the USA has got their spot clinched. So you'll see Will Vest now go and join Team USA for the quarterfinals, if I understand it correctly.
Does he take Tarek Skubal's spot?
No, not really, but some other guys might drop out. And he's kind of a backup. Yes, essentially he does, right. But some other guys might be dropping out, too, so they've got a second wave of guys coming in for the quarterfinals.
So, Jim, in one word, can you describe what we have seen so far in the WBC?
Exciting. I think there have been a lot of good games. I think the USA-Mexico game that they kind of had to hang on to win yesterday has been good. It's pretty much following the recipe I set last week, Jack, with the pools where you've got 5 teams that essentially really have a chance. You've got the USA, Japan, Dominican Republic, Venezuela, and Puerto Rico, and they all lead their pool with the exception of Venezuela and Dominican Republic, and they're 1 and 2. So one of those 5 teams will produce the winner.
All right. For fans who have not been following this yet, maybe they are a little slow to the dance, or they're thinking more about college basketball or following NFL teams here now with some of the movement. What are they missing?
I think they're missing competition because this is not an all-star game, Jack, where these teams go out there and just make it a friendly pat in the back. This is for your country. So these teams are all out to win this tournament, and you're seeing guys go an extra inning. You're seeing guys throw with a tired arm. You're seeing base stealing late. This is not in any way a pass-through game like you see in other exhibitions. These are real games, and once you get down to the pool or the quarterfinals of 8 teams, with 5 of them being those teams I talked about earlier, you're just going to start really seeing some guys. You're going to see. I'll tell you, when Tarek Skubal pitched his 3 innings the other night, he had a real hard decision to make about stay. He wanted to stay, and I'm not quite sure. No one could tell me why he had to leave, but the Tigers were supportive of him staying. But he really got the bug when he was there.
Yeah, I wonder if that had anything to do with Scott Boras and saying, you know what, you have to be smart about this. This is a business decision. Too. Just curious.
You made your splash. You pitched your 3 innings. You got 5 strikeouts. You did all you needed to do. Yeah. Now all you do is go down from here. I wonder if that wasn't the discussion that was somewhere in that quiet part of baseball.
And knowing the way Tarek Skubal is wired, just watching him, okay, and I don't mean watching him on the mound, I think he is very competitive, and I think he wanted to be part of this team. He was torn that way. I think he got a real bad rap last year in particular, Jim, when he would leave a game after a certain number of pitches or a certain number of innings, and that wasn't him going to the manager and saying, hey, I'm done. I've done my work. He would have gone back out there. I'm not saying he's Mickey Lolich, but he would have gone back out there for another inning in a lot of games when I questioned why he was leaving.
I think he's closer to Justin Verlander than a lot of people know,
as
far as not wanting to come out of games and being competitive. And I think that will only help rub off even more on Skubal pitching with Justin Verlander. Seeing how Verlander takes that ball every fifth day and he's ready to go.
How many more starts would you guess we're going to see for Tarik Skubal at Comerica Park as a Detroit Tiger, not coming back as a visiting player?
Well, as many as they can is a short answer, but I would say 16 to 18, depending on how they work the schedule.
Yeah. Would you guess?
Not a lot.
Yeah, not a lot. Not a lot of opportunities. So keep that in mind when you're looking for games to go down and see the Tigers this year. Obviously, they're trying to win games. They're trying to do what's going to give them a division champion and championship and more. But do you think that there's also a consideration where you could pitch him on Wednesday or you could pitch him on Thursday, Wednesday on the road, Thursday at home, or vice versa, where they would take that into consideration?
I do. I think it's going to be, first and foremost, what game is most important to win, depending on how the schedule's falling.
Yeah.
Are they winning? But short of that, I think they'll pitch him at home, and not just because of the crowd, but because he likes to pitch in Comerica Park. Yeah. He's a better pitcher in Comerica Park than he is on the road in a lot of ways, because he likes that space. I think they'll take every chance they can to have him pitch at home, just as they did with Justin Verlander. That was no different.
Yeah. And the Tigers have been very careful and cautious with him over the years. He's had a lot of 6-day breaks. I can't remember a time where they've rushed him into a game and you said, wow, it's short rest for him. If anything, it's gone the other way.
Yeah, but is that going to change this year? Because once the point comes when they no longer, if the point comes after the trading deadline and they've decided not to trade him, and I wonder if that'll change because they're no longer playing for next year. They're playing for the rest of the season. Yeah. I wonder if that might change and they might pitch him till his arm falls off because you know what, someone else's arm at that point.
Yeah, and I think a lot, Jim, depends on the standings because they're not concerned when his arm falls off. They are concerned if it happens before the World Series because they wouldn't want him to get an arm injury by making him do something he's not used to doing.
But that, with that in mind, they want to do everything they can to utilize him to reach that goal.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
But I will tell you, though, down here in spring training, Jack, we talked about it in the show last night. I want to give you 3 names. Okay?
Please do.
Every year there's names when you look at it and say, well, who is this guy? Who is it? There's 3 names you want to watch for.
Okay.
1 you know and 2 you probably won't.
Okay.
The one, and we had a big 2-run home run today and an RBI on a sacrifice fly is Corey Julks. He's not young. He's 30 years old, but he's been around. He was with Houston, but he's leading the team right now, Jack, with 4 home runs and 9 RBIs, and hitting almost 400.
Okay.
And he's an outfielder. Okay. It's not like Jahmai Jones has that extra spot locked in. In the outfield right now, and with the way the outfield with Parker Meadows, I wouldn't be surprised this guy might claim a job if he keeps hitting this way the whole spring training. The other 2 guys they want to bring up.
Can he play in multiple positions?
No, he's an outfielder.
Just an outfielder, okay.
He's an outfielder.
Okay.
Yep.
But
he's a right-handed bat, and we know where that falls in there. And the other guy is Edwin Valencia, who is a rookie. He's 26, but he's produced everywhere he's been. He's a first base, not much of a defender, but I just want to put his name out there, Jack, that if they're looking for a guy, another guy on the bench, another guy as a bat, he might be a guy to look at. He's done nothing but hit everywhere he's been.
Wow.
The other guy is a name you're going to remember, and that's Jace Young, who is not an unproven rookie, or excuse me, he is not, but he's not a phenom. He's not a prospect. He's been around 4 or 5 years. He better start producing. He is having a good spring so far. He's hitting 360. But if he doesn't start to claim a job, you may see him go in a trade or be in that leftover pile because he's been a prospect for a long time.
Normally, Jim, when we talk about prospects or phenoms in Florida, 20, 21, 22, you're talking about a guy who's 30, a guy who's 26. So what's with that?
Well, because a lot of the younger guys, we know who they are, Jack.
Yeah.
Let's face it, and I'll tell you, I did see a big home run yesterday by Kevin McGonigal, his first one of the spring.
Yeah.
But he was playing third, Jack, which surprised me. They had Baez at short and him at third. And I know they want to see what else he can do, and maybe that's all it was. But I really like him up the middle, either short or second, as a future for him.
How many games, how many at-bats would you guess Kevin McGonigal will get? Fred Heumann is insisting that he's not going to start the season with Detroit. I can't believe that. But
well, I'll tell you one thing I guarantee you, Jack, is if he starts the season, it'll only be as a starter. He will not be on the team come April or end of March unless he's a starter. He's not going to come and be on the bench. So, but you know what? Right now, I think he's leaning the other side of making the team versus what Fred thinks. I think he's I think he's earning a spot.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think he's earning it. They're not giving it to him.
Yeah,
he's earning it, and that's what he needs to make it incontrovertible. I've earned this spot.
Well, another thing that I have noticed, Tigers compared to some other teams in Major League Baseball now and historically have been extremely cautious with starting players' clocks. And they kept them down maybe longer than they would. You know, Ken Griffey Jr. came up at 19, and there are some others like that who were so good you couldn't keep them down. But you have to learn how to hit Major League pitching, and you're not going to learn that at another level.
Well, I think Bobby Witt Jr. was the poster boy for that, Jack. He was ready to come up, and the Royals kept him down intentionally to hold that clock. And now I checked around when I was at the ballpark. I talked to some people. Nobody has given me any indication that that's what the Tigers are thinking or saying.
Good.
But to your point, though, Jack, are they going to say it if they really think? I don't know they would, but nobody's even surmising that. Even the media is not talking about it.
All right, Jim. McGonigal, we talked about him. Anyone else of the young players?
No.
Briseño, Rainier, Max Clark, Mr. Diamond Necklace.
Rainier, he's still got to recover.
Yeah.
Jackson Jobe might pitch at the end of this season. He might be a little ahead of schedule. That's still far off. I think Max Clark did himself in big time with that mistake-filled game where he was just – not that he's done. It's just the talk of him being one of these guys that grabbed a job went away, and he's not going to have that job. And I wouldn't have expected to this year, which is fine. And then Briseño, I think, is still in between somewhere. He sits a little bit, but he has not grabbed the job. He's not said, take me north. Yeah. And so right now, the only one of the three that has come close is McGonigal.
Yeah, okay.
And no pitcher has really stepped forward either. No young pitcher has said, I want a job, keep me. So right now, we're going to see the pitching staff pretty much the way the Tigers laid it out.
Jim, how long have you been in Florida?
Since Friday.
So the Pistons slide began before you left. What do you make of this? They look like they were certainly the class of the East. Now they're having trouble getting out of their own way.
Well, the good news is they still have a 6-game lead over Cleveland in the division. That's the good. They really haven't lost any to them. They have dropped a 2-game lead over the Celtics in the conference. So that's been an issue, right? And so 4 games in a row is the longest losing streak they've had under BJ Bickerstaff since his first week. A year 2 years ago. So but right now I tell you the biggest thing I've noticed, and I looked it up again today, they are 5th from the bottom in the NBA at 3-point. Okay, and here's where it makes a difference. Okay. The teams that are making the most 3-points are making upwards of between 15 and 16 a game, okay? The Pistons are making 10 a game. Right away, that's at least 10 points a game, or 8, they're missing, right?
Yeah. Well, if there's a 6-3 difference, that's 18 points.
Exactly. And guess what teams are all up there at the top of those made 3-pointers?
Sure.
The Celtics, Chicago, Cleveland, New York, all Eastern Division teams, the Pistons got to run across. So that's where that and I have seen Kevin Huerter starting to play more, but they got a gap to fill. And I'm not saying that's the reason they've lost these 4 games, but it is a factor as we head down the stretch.
Well, it is the one thing you look at and you say, whoa, that could be a problem. There's not much else you can find that way. You know, I was looking at some of the Mr. Basketball stuff, and they announced the winner yesterday, and Kelvin Torbert Jr. from East Lansing is the winner, right? 25 years after his dad, who was just a guest on this show. But when you think about players who played in the MAC, and KJ is going to be at Bowling Green, there are two that jump out. David Kuhl, who wound up at Western Michigan. Yep, terrific player. Yep. And Imani Bates, who started at Memphis and then transferred to Eastern Michigan. But I was looking at a picture of Imani, and he's still only 22 years old. He's the same age as Jalen Duren, who's finishing his fourth year in the NBA, and both of those guys are younger than Trey Fort at Michigan State.
But Imani Bates has he slept-walked through his year at Eastern, actually, and to still be struggling in the Cleveland Cavaliers G League team tells me he may be one of those guys that's going to be a footnote in basketball history. That we saw his best days in high school. We never saw Antoine Gobert. Put him in that category. Now, I'm not saying for sure, but that's the way it looks right now, because look at the way Duren has developed in his 4 years, and look, take a look at Bates, and there's no comparison as far as development and hard work.
Jim, I don't know if you know this, but Larry Lage, Michigan Associated Press sports editor, had an arrangement with the Bates family where he'd been following them very closely for a long period of time. And he was writing a book. Right? It was going to be the book about the story of Imani Bates, because he was, in some people's mind, not the next Jordan, maybe the next Kevin Garnett, right?
Certainly was on the cover of
SI. Cover of Sports Illustrated.
The next coming player. Sure.
Yeah. And it finally blew up because it was perceived that Larry had said something or written something critical, which the Bates family didn't want. And so, anyway, they pulled the plug on the project. And on one hand, it was the best move of Larry's career not to be involved in this. Yeah. On the other hand, I would have bought that book. I wouldn't have wanted a complimentary copy. I'd have rushed out to get it to find out the truth.
Well, I remember seeing him play when Eastern played at Oakland University, and I'll tell you right now, Jack, I've never seen a talented player, like I say, sleepwalk through a game. He just wasn't. It was embarrassing how poorly he played as far as his talent level and how little he worked. And I'm no expert, but I've seen some basketball in my life. I could tell.
Jim, how many Pistons games would you say you have seen over the years? Have you seen hundreds, close to 1,000?
No, I would say 200.
Okay, 200. 200. Have you seen anything close in terms of a collapse with a team atop the standings for a conference to a team at the bottom that had a 10-game losing streak, as what happened with the Pistons at home, right? This is at LCA, and they're 23 up on the Brooklyn Nets in the third quarter and managed to lose the game.
Well, I'll tell you, right now it's the bench, Jack. That's what's not. I mean, you're still having the superstars. You see Duren, you see Cade delivering. It's the bench right now, and the supporting players. And having Arthur Thompson out right now, I think he was out last 2 games. That doesn't help because he gives them a lot of effort. But you know what, Jack? I'm going to write this off at this point to. It happens. Everybody's, a short. Now, if that losing streak goes on, if they don't break it tonight, now we start talking, and then it's 6. But I'm not closing the door on what you're saying. But right now, I think it's a little early to worry more than let's get a win and get this thing turned around.
Yeah. And I'm not as worried in the long term. Cade didn't play in that game against Brooklyn, and they've had other players out, so I get it. It's a long season. Right. But just for one game, remember, I could not believe what I was seeing.
Yeah, but Jack, they sort of had that game against who was it a few weeks ago? It was the same thing. Miami, was it? Or no, it was some game at home when they just had no rhythm. And I think it's a long season, and they've been in first place for a long time. It's hard to keep that edge the whole time. I think we've seen that time and time again. With teams that were going wire to wire in first place. I'd rather have them lose them now, Jack, than a month from now.
Yeah. I just couldn't believe, Jim, that they played so well for 32 minutes. Right, and then the last 16 minutes, it's like, they had to catch a plane or something. It was.
Well, remember they're short of veteran leadership. They've only got a couple of veterans. If you want to take into account, they don't even have the veterans they had last year in terms of true veteran. So that pays, and I'm not blaming any one person other than the fact that you're seeing guys. Nobody's taking control from the start to finish, saying this is our game. Let's not lose it. And let's face it, it's early yet. Let's just see if this thing goes on a few more games. Then we'll see what B.J. Bickerstaff has to say about it.
Yeah, JB will have something. He's got enough experience. He'll figure that part of it out.
I hope so. Yep.
Yeah. Jim, have a safe trip back, and look forward to seeing you next week. And also baseball this week, right?
Day, right? We're
That's
going to switch to Thursdays next week, right?
Yes. Thursday, and who knows where I will be. I may be in Buffalo, so we don't know exactly what's going to happen with that. But be flexible. We may end up doing something with you. Yeah, that's right. We may end up doing something with you on the phone while we're in the NCAA tournament. But you're going to be in here doing baseball this week, right?
We'll be in Thursday for our next edition of baseball this week. But Jack, as always, you are Mr. Flexible when it comes to basketball, right?
Thanks so much, Jim. Appreciate it.
Okay, Jack.
All right.
Okay, talk to you next week.
You got it. We will be back in...
Did he just call you Mr. Flexible?
Yeah, Gumby, right? That's me?
Oh.
No, not really.
You've been called a lot of things.
No one's ever called me Mr. Flexible.
Wow.
No.
Jeez.
They've called me a lot of other things.
Right.
I can't actually document. I did that last night for someone. We'll be back in just a minute, and we're going to talk with Allen Trieu. No one knows more about Midwest football recruiting than Allen, and he's got a new gig. We'll talk about that and much, much more coming up on The Drive with Jack.
Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our team of school bus drivers and attendants. Visit deanjobs.com to see all openings. Dean Transportation provides paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license, increased starting pay, comprehensive benefits, and flexible schedules with no weekend shifts. No experience needed. Apply today at deanjobs.com and train for back-to-school season. That's DEAN jobs.com.
Hey, Jack, I'm looking for a lunch deal that actually scores.
One North Kitchen and Bar has a 2 for $12 lunch combo, right, Jeremy?
Absolutely. We can mix and match half sandwiches, salads, soups, or classics like cheese quesadillas and personal pizzas. Weekdays 11 to 2 and Saturdays from 10 to 2.
One North.
Easy win.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn-out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graf of Okemos. Great time to get a great vehicle.
Fantastic time, Jack. 0% financing is back. Hard to believe this time right now we can get a vehicle with 0 interest.
Wow.
And if you're looking to pay cash, how about rebates up to $10,000? That's unheard of lately, right? $10,000 off on a vehicle. How about leasing? You want to lease? You can lease a vehicle right now in the low 3s. Come on out and take a look.
You're talking everyone's language. Stop and see Matt and the gang. They're making friends.
Welcome back. It is The Drive with Jack, Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling in studio today with my producer, Boston Rob. Ben Shadle also here. Spends a lot of time covering Michigan State women's basketball and more. Want to go out to our guest line. Very happy to welcome in Allen Trieu. Allen is the foremost Midwest talent evaluator in terms of college recruiting. Nobody does a better job, and nobody knows more, respected across the industry. And Allen, congratulations on your new gig. What can you tell us?
Hey, first of all, thank you. It's been 10 days, and I think I'm finally learning the computer system. When you're in one system for 20 years, as I was, there's a lot of muscle memory in these fingers of how to do certain things. So that was the biggest adjustment. And, of course, I left behind some really good friends with Stephen Brooks, Corey Robinson, and Justin Finn, who you know, but very excited to be working with Jim Comparoni and Jason Phillips. So you're spoiled in that Michigan State market. There's some good folks on this side.
Yeah, and you will certainly be missed by anyone who took advantage of the 24/7 sports opportunity to read you. In fact, there were a lot of people who read you primarily, read 24/7 primarily because they could get Allen Trieu. And there are a lot of people who followed you in the Detroit News, who have watched you for many years on Big Ten Network, signing day. You're a fixture there. But now, moving on and having a chance to be with rivals, what changes for you?
Not a whole lot, which is a big reason that I wanted to make the choices. Day to day, in terms of what I cover, how I cover it, mostly the same. I am more involved in terms of ranking the prospects in the region, and so excited about that to be part of that evaluation. But as far as the type of content I put out, how I get to that content, and the events that I cover, business as usual.
So let us peek behind the curtain here. How do you do what you do with so many players from so many schools and so many colleges? How do you keep it straight and get out ahead of the pack?
Well, thankfully, both 24/7 and Rivals have really great databases. I have to be really diligent about putting in profiles and information so that I can help keep it straight. Also, I think those of us who have chosen to do this for a living have probably always been that way to some extent. I used to memorize my football cards as a kid, and so the joke still is, I can probably tell you who the starting left guard is on some high school teams, but I don't know what day my recycling goes out, so it's just how my brain's wired.
We know what kind of a communicator you are. We know that you are a stand-up comedian. What kind of an athlete were you, or are you?
I was a pretty solid athlete. I played football, tennis, and basketball growing up.
Okay.
Not great enough at any of those sports to play beyond high school, but good enough to be out there and make some impact. I still play pickleball on a weekly basis, but at this point in my life, just happy to be out there, and the goal is to be able to walk to my car, not get injured, and get to my chiro once a week and have him say, everything's moving pretty good here at your age, Alan. So the goal isn't to be winning any championships anymore.
Is there a sport that you look at now and you say, wow, I don't know how they do that. That's the one thing you would never catch me doing?
Pretty much everything I just watched in the Winter Olympics.
You're not going to be in the downhill slopes, right? Yeah, ski jumping.
Oh, man, yeah. You know what? Going downhill is okay, but ski jumping where they're up in the air for that long, some of those things. And then I watched Alex Honnold climb that building, and I thought, boy, sometimes I get a little bit too high in my climbing gym, and I start to get a little woozy. I don't know how he's up. That is definitely the one thing you'll never catch me doing, is free soloing.
Well, the sport that does that for me, Alan, is gymnastics. And I can watch gymnastics competitions. I actually covered gymnastics at the 1987 Pan America Games. And I get sore watching them. I mean, I think, I'm going to hurt myself just watching some of these dismounts. So everyone has their own sport and sport that you feel most comfortable with. What is it about high school football that has changed the most? And there are a lot of things that have changed since you began doing this.
I think there's more spotlight on it. There's obviously more spotlight on recruiting. Never did I ever think I would get to a day where I would try to interview a high school player, and he said, can you talk to my agent? Never thought that would happen. At the same time, a lot of things remain the same. I do think, when I go to Friday nights, games on Friday nights, there's still a feel to it that doesn't go away, and that's why I do what I do. Yeah. But I would say the quality of the play and the quality of the athlete is a lot better. These kids are training year-round. They're training at their high school. Some of them then go to a personal trainer. The sophistication of the offenses and defenses that they're running. I mean, I do think that the level of high school football is higher today than it was when I started.
One of the things that I think you hear about Allen Trieu, and it's meant as the ultimate compliment, is that you get out there. It's we are there coverage. You're not relying on other people. Not that you don't talk to other people, but you trust your eyeballs. And going way back, a quarter century or more, I got to know Tom Lemming pretty well back when he was a mailman. And this became a little cottage industry for him. I was in his house several times in suburban Chicago. Once I was actually late for a Michigan State Northwestern game because we started talking and realized, well, what are we doing here? So I got to see someone who would take his summers and drive around the country and take these pictures with the camera to put in this newsletter. I mean, it's changed so much. This is long before the internet. But I think that there's some similarity there. And I don't know how well you know Tom, but the idea that, you have to see it yourself, trust it, put in the legwork, and I think that's how you develop credibility.
Yeah, I do know Tom. We've met a couple times, and before I was in the industry, I mean, I read Tom's stuff. I bought the guide. Was always asking. And same thing with the draft guys like Joel Bucksbaum.
Yes.
I bought that draft guide back in the day. So there is something about it, and I think that doesn't go away. And we have more information than ever before. I mean, we can pull up Huddle. We can the kids tweet their own workouts from their high schools. Yet there still is something about going and seeing a kid live and meeting them in person. And I also think that in addition to the scouting part of it, that's how you build some of the relationships that help us get the information that we then pass on.
You mentioned Huddle, Hudl, and the Huddle highlights, and I find myself watching more of those than maybe I should. But how much of an indication can you get from watching someone's highlight reels, or do you want to see them when they don't have a great game or don't have, 3 big games in a row?
It's funny that you asked me that because I was helping today rank the 2028 safeties nationally.
Yeah.
And I tell you, you get to a point where I'm watching about the 70th highlight video of a safety, and they're all Division I prospects, and at some point they all start to look the same.
Yeah.
So then we do start going to find other ways to try to separate one from the other. And you watch workout clips. I'm watching a number of other sports. I'm watching basketball highlights just to gauge some athleticism and competitiveness. I would love to, as you say, be able to watch full games of every kid and find the low lights and find the moments.
Yeah.
And sometimes football is about not making the highlight reel play, but, solid play.
Right.
We don't always have that luxury, but we try, and that's where I think getting out on Friday nights is very important because highlight tapes can be very deceiving.
Yeah, whether we're ranking high school prospects or we're talking about hiring job prospects, Alan, I always want to know what someone's worst moments were, and not just their best ones, because you can always put together, 20 plays if someone has a decent high school career. But I want to know when, they've jumped offside at a critical point or blown an assignment or missed a tackle or fumbled, any of those kinds of things, and then that you never get that on Huddle.
You don't get any context. So if this guy made a clutch catch, it's 4th and 8, and they caught a 9-yard pass, and you watch that highlight without that context, that might not be that impressive of a play, but if you have the context of it, that adds something to it. So we do realize that the Huddle highlights can only tell you so much, but it's what we have to go off of, and it is more than we used to have. I mean, we used to have to try to get kids to mail us a DVD, so we'll take anything we can get.
How many players will you look at this year?
Oh gosh, it'll probably approach 1,000 because now, like I said, we're watching 2028.
Oh yeah,
and so the challenge for us is we're evaluating 3 classes at a time. So we're evaluating 27, 28, and really 29. So then at some point, if there's a couple of freshmen, we'll probably evaluate some 30s. But so, yeah, and then if you count all the guys we look at camp, so I'll definitely be over 1,000 at that point.
How many camps will you attend?
That's a good question. Probably close to 10. Okay. So handful of Under Armours and regional camps like that, and then definitely the local Michigan State, Wayne State, some of those around the state.
All right. I want to get to specific schools. Both of the Michigan Big Ten schools, coaching changes. We've seen that a couple of times before. We saw it with Nick Saban and Lloyd Carr back in 1995. We saw it with just a couple of years ago, right? We had it at Michigan and Michigan State. And Mel Tucker started out great at Michigan State, 2 wins over Michigan. It didn't wind up very good, but certainly we had that, and wasn't long. And you'd guess that both of those coaches be gone at those 2 schools, and new administrations and entire new staffs coming in. Let's start with Michigan State. Pat Fitzgerald showed up before Kyle Whittingham, so we'll do it in that order. And a little bit different than you would find at U of M or some other powerhouse programs where they're always going to be good. They're always going to be able to get their foot in the door. Michigan State, not so much. And sometimes in football recruiting, they weren't able to get in on a player. They weren't able to get him to campus or really to be considered before they could make their pitch. What difference do you think Fitz is going to make with his personality and contacts?
I think, first of all, he's got this ability to, I think, really connect with high school coaches and parents.
Yeah.
He wins that part of the recruiting battle very easily. And I tell you something that high school coaches noted right away was he's calling us, because now the high school coach doesn't necessarily get involved as much because the schools can write to the kid on social media. So the fact that Fitz picked up the phone and called some of the high school coaches in the state, that meant something to them. And he's a father himself. There's just a way about him that I think the adults in the room, it resonates with them. He's going to play a certain brand of football that I think is very, very well fitting to Michigan State and to the Big Ten, and that resonates with a lot of kids, especially around the Midwest. And then I think you've got to have, you can't do it alone, and he's got a great staff of recruiters.
Right. Going back to light years to the Schembechler Perlis era, or even Saban and Carr, it was a totally different process than it is now in terms of the high school coaches you mentioned. How important is that, and can a high school coach, a time where coaching staffs recruited the high school coach, not just the player and the mother. Now, does it still help to have the high school coaches on your side?
I think it absolutely helps, and especially because if it is truly as the high school coaches are telling me, you're doing something that maybe the other schools aren't. And it doesn't just help with this one kid, but you would expect Michigan State's going to keep recruiting these in-state high schools. So it helps you with the next time these coaches have a prospect. Maybe Fitz is going to be the first one they pick up the phone and call when they say, hey, we have a freshman coming in that's really good, and you can get in first on a guy like that. So I always think when you can win the home, you can win the high school, it helps you with the kids.
Relationships, they've always mattered, and they always will. Fitz was telling us a story, Alan, about going into Ohio and talking to some coaches there. I think he was speaking to the Coaches Association, and someone came up to him and said, Fitz, where have you been? And he said, well, I'm coaching the last couple of years, and he kind of gave him the brief story about working and helping his son's high school team while everything was being adjudicated at Northwestern. The guy said, no, not you. Where's Michigan State been? We haven't seen them here in years. Regionally, they kind of got away from what had made them so successful, especially in the D'Antonio years where they won 36 out of 41 games. So do you expect Michigan State to go back to more regional recruiting? Not that they're not going to go and get a player wherever they can get him, but that they're really going to focus on that 5.5-hour radius that works so well for Mark.
Yes, I mean, I do. Nowadays, you have to recruit nationally to an extent, like you said, but they will be very heavy in Michigan, Illinois, and Ohio again, and they already are. If you look at their offer list for 27 and the cases that are coming in for visits, and the best example of this that I can give you is I saw Fitz and his staff at the Michigan High School Coaches Convention in January.
Okay.
And they left. They walked out of the building after Fitz spoke, and it had to have been 9, 10 o'clock at night at that point. And I woke up the next morning, and I had a kid in Cleveland tag me that Fitz was in his school and offered him. And I thought, wasn't this guy just in Battle Creek the night before? So they got to Ohio by the next morning, and that just tells you that's where their bread's going to be buttered right away is, I think, Michigan and Ohio. And there's great emphasis on those two states that have been doing well in Illinois as well. So I definitely think regional recruiting at Michigan State is going to be very important under that.
Allen, we saw, especially with a school like Wisconsin, that was able to overachieve based on the recruiting rankings, the team rankings. But when Michigan State was in the 50s at best, how tough is it to get where fans want a program to get if you're not in the top 25 or 30 schools?
Yeah, it is tough. I mean, I think it comes back to, football is easier when you have the more talented roster. It's definitely not a guarantee. And the recruiting rankings aren't a guarantee either, but you would like to be higher if they're like Urban Meyer once said, if they're keeping score, I want to win that thing.
Yeah.
Schools like Wisconsin, schools like Indiana have shown that you can stick to a certain system and not have to recruit at the top level. But then you see the minute Indiana now can recruit at a high level, they're doing it this year.
Yeah.
I think the great thing for Michigan State, though, is you have a coach in Pat Fitzgerald who got to a couple of Big Ten title games without the benefit of top 25 recruiting classes. Great evaluation, great talent development. And I think he's going to be able to blend that at Michigan State with being able to recruit at a little bit of a higher level. So I do think that ultimately the goal is to recruit at a little bit of a higher level, but I also think that this staff is going to find some guys under the radar who turn out well, which was certainly a hallmark of the Mark D'Antonio era.
We're talking with Allen Trieu, recruiting savant, and now with the Rivals Network. Of course, you'll still read him in Detroit News, and you'll see him on Big Ten Network. But when you think about the last class, the one that Fitz had to finish when he got here one day before signing day, everyone knows about Cade Kaufman, the quarterback. But is there a player in this class you would look at and say, okay, they're really going to be glad they got that guy? And is there someone in the class they're recruiting now that you could tell fans, hey, you can get a little excited about this one?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I thought last year Tristan Comer from Freeland was a take that is the kind of guy that Michigan State in the past would have taken, and he would have turned out great. I mean, I think he's still playing in his high school basketball season right now. That's how good of an athlete he is. Reminds me of you don't want to get too ahead of yourself, but similar profile to like a Jack Conklin.
Wow.
And those kind of guys. High school, kind of underdeveloped high school offensive tackles who play basketball.
Yeah.
Those stories tend to turn out pretty well.
Yeah.
So I think, we've talked about all these guys. Sometimes it's easy to glaze over a offensive tackle who's currently the size of a power forward and not filled in yet. You probably won't see him on the field for 2 years. That one could pay big dividends down the line. In this year's class, I'm going to stick on the offensive line. I think Grant Asloff, the take from East Grand Rapids, that's a Pat Fitzgerald kind of take. A absolute, yes, so, no, sir, does everything he's supposed to do from a really good high school, from a really good family. Dad played college football, and he's going to come in, he's going to put his nose down and do everything it takes to win. It reminds me of when Pat came into Grand Rapids and took Tommy Dole out of Grand Rapids. And he wound up being a captain at Northwestern. Grant Asloff is that kind of guy.
All right, last thing for you, Allen. What about Kyle Whittingham at Michigan. Michigan is always going to be able to get in the door, and we're seeing some influence of his staff, put together a great staff, as you would expect, and they're able to get players who they were recruiting out west. How do you think Michigan recruiting is going to change with Whittingham in charge?
Well, I think it's going to be a little bit similar to Jonathan Smith in that right away you've got to go to where you've known, which is back out west. And they've done that so far, and they're going to have some success. They flipped a couple of Utah kids late in the process. I think as far as what they're going to do regionally, we're not going to know that. Ask me again after spring is over, because when they got there a little bit later, you just have to get a class together. You have to go back to what you know. And now I think they're going to start to develop more regional relationships over the next couple months. So we'll see how that develops. They just got a new GM in Dave Peliquin, who was at Notre Dame, so I think he's going to make his imprint on things, but we haven't had a chance to see how that is yet. So I think that's going to become a lot more clear of what their recruiting strategy is by the time we hit like middle of May going into June.
Alan, thanks so much for joining us. Congratulations on the new assignment. 24/7's loss is Rivals' gain, and we hope that we'll be reading you for a long time to come.
Absolutely, Jack. Well, thanks for having me. Happy to come on anytime.
Allen Trieu. We're going to stay right here, Rob. No break. We have a very special guest in studio. Talk about MSU gymnastics. And, I've always said that it's hard to believe what Adam Nightingale has done in 4 years with 3 Big Ten champions. Right there with him is Mike Rowe and what has happened with MSU women's gymnastics. And now, they don't score 197.5 or something like that. You're saying, everyone's looking at it. So expectations are ratcheted up. Mike, welcome to the studio.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Jack.
Big meet just completed. Big score. You had to be happy with that. You want to talk about that?
Real happy with that score. We just had at Auburn Friday night. Going down into SEC territory, first of all, is a challenge. We like to get down there and see some of the top talent, those traditionally strong programs that exist in the top, 15. And we get one every once in a while. Scheduling is a little more difficult now, but because of our new NQS system, we're adding two teams to that. So we'd like to get out a little bit more, get out of our regional footprint. So fortunate for that opportunity, but and see some different competition. Our team traditionally in the past 3 or 4 years has risen. We raised the bar to the teams that we compete against. So it was nice getting out there, taking charge from the first event. Bars I was happy with. We could have done a little bit better, stuck a couple more landings, but starting strong with a 49.325, something like that. We went to vault and almost broke the program record.
Yeah,
vault was
tremendous.
On fire. Yeah, it was 49.6, I believe.
Yeah,
665.
50 points max.
Yeah,
right per event.
Yep.
4 events. So the perfect score is
50.
Is 200. Has any team ever come touching that? Close to it?
Not that I know of.
199. Not.
I don't know if we breached the 199. I mean, back in the day when Georgia had 10 national championships and all that, I don't know if they even. But
they were always in the 198.
There was a 40 all-arounder. That's 4 perfect 10s.
4 perfect 10s.
Yeah, there's one. Yeah, but there's been one. In the history of collegiate gymnastics.
So, what does your team learn from a trip like this? You talk about going down to SEC country, and I think 7 of the top 8 schools in the rankings are from the SEC now, right? Everyone but UCLA.
Yep.
So what separates that? I know that SEC schools don't have hockey. They don't have wrestling. So maybe they can apply resources in a different way.
In a big way.
That's a lot of it.
Because they have about a little over half of the sports that we have in the Big Ten.
I mean, 16, right? For most schools there?
Oh, I think Ohio State has 31 varsity sports.
Ohio State has.
We have 23.
Right.
It's,
Ohio State at one point had 35 or something, right? I mean, they had rifle.
They have equestrian.
Yeah. So what is it about when you go down and you do well in that environment that you take away?
What's good about it is traditionally for the conference, women's gymnastics is one of the top tier sports, brings in a lot of revenue for them.
Yeah.
Attendance records are high, so you get a conference championship, national, regional championship feel. The atmosphere is there, and our kids are really good in that kind of atmosphere.
What was the attendance at Auburn?
They had just gone on spring break, but I think they had set, it was close to 5,000 something on spring break.
And they can have 10 there routinely, right? If they have the right matchups.
Definitely. It's actually in a smaller arena, but I think it maxes out at 10.
Okay.
We were in Neville Arena. But, they have traditionally a strong program that, had brought in Sunisa Lee, past Olympian.
Okay.
She was just there and for a couple of years. And, Jeff Gray was done a great job with that program. And this year, like us, they're a little plagued with a little bit of injuries and stuff. So on paper, we were kind of, head to head, we were kind of even. So we were like, this is going to be a good challenge for us.
Yeah.
Going away, a road score, which, with this new system, NQS system, you count all of your road scores. So we wanted to go
all the road scores.
And we ended up with our, high road score this season.
Your score at Iowa is going to count, right? That's the reason that you are 11th and not 6th or 7th or 8th, right?
We continued. We do for the next 2 weeks what we did these past couple of weeks. We're going to be fine. There's still a chance we could bump up 1 or 2.
Okay.
So we're good. They seed the top 16 out of 36 going into regionals.
Yeah.
So right now we're sitting as a 3 seed. We could be as high as a 2 seed.
But you could be a sleeper because you had to count a score that's now irrelevant, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I don't think I've ever asked you this, but we know how important home court is to basketball. Home ice, home field for football, all of that. How important is home apparatus for gymnasts? Ostensibly, the judges are scoring and not paying attention to that, but they are human. Right? So how much of an advantage is it for you to have a competition at home as opposed to facing the same team at their place?
I think it's numerous. There's numerous angles you can look at it too, but I think the main one is because mental wellness and our mental health, and this is such a mental, psychological sport when it comes down to it. It's obviously we recruited very talented athletes. We're working on consistency and technique and all that stuff, but any one little thing could plant a negative seed in that kid's head for that given day, and they could be all over the place. So having that home court advantage or whatever, they're familiar with the environment. They're familiar with the equipment. It's laid out the same way every time we're in there. It's almost like they're in their practice arena, So there's a big chunk of whatever that could be in there that could bring negativity or uncertainty into their minds when they're competing. And then the way we address it now it's more from a showmanship perspective to, let's put on a show and show these people what we can do. It's not about you're being judged and every 10th counts and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's about the individual that's up there, what event we're on, and no matter how it goes, we leave it behind us when we go on to the next one. So the mental, their mental awareness or health at that time plays a big factor, and I just think that environment is calming for them. And so it's just like, hey, we're at home, let's do it, let's see if we can go 198. And senior night this weekend, the emotions are going to be high. You got to keep those in check. We try to minimize that. A lot of things that can just play into what's driving these kids their last meet in Jenison. It's like kissing the Sparty head on the wood floor, the hardwood floor. It's hard. It's hard for the coaches that you've been working with them for 4 years, and all of a sudden they're gone. So we try to minimize all that and just let's put on another show, a little better than last time.
So people think of coach. Okay, they're going to be teaching new skills or refining or working on routines. Instead of being a technical coach, how much of it for you is being a psychological coach and having to deal with that for each individual athlete?
Well, That's above my pay grade. But we do have great resources to work with that and do work with that. And we learn from that, and we learn to incorporate, whether it's just a sports psych issue where they get flustered or they rush, or their nerves, and it's breathing techniques or using keywords, buzzwords, those kind of things to calm down, whether it's, having just like an internal rhythm or something when it's doing a beam routine, something like that, whether it's listening to their floor music, whether it's, eliminating distractions one way or another. They keep their AirPods in or whatever, so they're not worried about being the next one up on a certain piece of apparatus. Or there's all different ways to do that, and you learn that after you're getting to know them for a while, what works best for them. Sometimes they come to you with no idea of what they would ever do, and we have to kind of guide them through that and find what works best for them. And I think we're pretty successful at that. After being with the program for a year or two, when they've been with us for a couple of years, they start to feel more comfortable with what they do, and it's less of a big deal. It's less of a factor, but it plays an important part in those. Like head-to-head top 10 nationally ranked, teams, and you're in there, whether it's regionals or nationals. And once again, we're trying to minimize the distraction. It's all about us. Don't worry about who else is in here. I don't care if it's Oklahoma, Florida, LSU.
You're not watching them.
It's all about, we're not watching them. We're not looking at scores. We're, listening to our Spartan fans cheer us on and cheering for each other. And you look up when it's over.
So you always want your athletes to be in a good space mentally, right? But you've watched a lot of sports, and you've talked to your colleagues at Michigan State, certainly. Is it more important when athletes are running as fast as they can and flipping and rotating that they be 100% there mentally, psychologically, as opposed to maybe an offensive lineman who's going to go out and hit somebody?
I know how important it is for our sport. I couldn't compare to other sports. My dad was a football coach like all my life, and I still wouldn't know how he. It's a different beast, okay, different beast. But it is difficult. It is relentless on these kids' bodies. I would say it's funny that you brought this up, because we have a theme or a mantra or an acronym or whatever for every week, for every meet, and this week's, I would say, theme is be present.
Oh, I like it.
Whether it's laser focused or whatever you're doing, be present, because every turn matters. These kids are striving for perfection.
Right.
It's impossible. Yeah, you see perfect 10s and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes perfect 10s, or sometimes routines that you think should be 10s aren't, and sometimes perfect 10s you don't think should be perfect 10s are.
Yeah.
So, you almost feel like you're chasing the impossible, but they have to think in their minds that they're capable of doing this. We've had perfect 10s in the past few years, which the program hadn't had for a long time. So they know they're capable of doing it. It's when it's going to happen. Well, you don't wish for it. You don't wish for it in that moment. You don't compete hoping to get a 10 or working towards the 10, because then you're thinking skill to skill.
Right.
Well, what if I wobble here? What if I wobble? You're putting all these negative. It's just like do the routine, So basically, be present in everything you do this week, every turn you take. If you're giving a correction to one of your teammates or anything like that, if you're doing that, do it with enough insight to listen and communicate. That's important, that you're trying to help them and you're not trying to call them out on something they did wrong. Like criticize, don't be critical of them. So there, be present along with the intensity. I think last week our word was intensity, and they took that to a whole other level. It worked, and we just kept carrying it. One competitor to the next, one event to the next.
It's contagious.
It was contagious. On vault, the stuck landings, and blasting them, and it was just really exciting to watch them do that, and really nothing for us to say going one for one. Let's keep this rolling. Let's just keep this going, and they did.
So your score on a particular day or night is judged against your immediate competition, but unlike some other sports, you're not constantly comparing scores against teams from other regions. In gymnastics, you are. You're being evaluated against what Utah does or what Florida does, those kinds of things. So in terms of judging, I want to go back to this because I listened to coaches bitch enough about basketball officiating to know that, somebody told me last night at a game I attended that they went to heaven. They thought they were there and they didn't see a single referee. So, I'm wondering.
Don't get me started.
In terms of regional tendencies for scoring, if you go to some place, are you saying, well, you know what, I'm playing or we're competing against another school that has a big reputation, so scores are going to be higher than they would be another time, another place?
Our season isn't over, so we're still meeting these judges, these officials out there through the postseason stuff. So I don't want to go on. Right, I'm not going on the record, and I'm going to. But they all have different levels of experience. Some of them have been doing this 20, 30 years. Some of them, this is their first year.
Yeah.
You get 2 locally assigned judges. We have a judges assigning system, which is, our WCGA, Women's Collegiate Gymnastics Association, formulated a committee to work with the National Association of Women's Collegiate Gymnastics officials to create parity. Because it was happening, certain areas, certain conferences, whatever, seemed to be, outscoring others and rising to the top faster than others. We think we've done a decent job of getting that in check. So it's, but you still, it's a subjective sport.
Sure. Can you go into a meet, Mike, and take a look at the judges with what you know and say, okay, well, the scores are going to be a little higher tonight, or the scores, we're really going to have to hit every one tonight, or, this judge has a tendency to do you look at it that way?
I would never do that.
Never do that. You would never do that.
Never do that.
Never do that. Okay.
No, we know our judges ahead of time when their contracts come in, and, bless them. Some of them I've known for 30 years. So we go way back, and it doesn't matter. There are a lot of great judges out there. Yeah. And I just think experience. They do everything they can to train. Mm-hmm. Every year they're certified. They take tests. It's like a board. They take boards. They take. They're being evaluated by us.
Okay.
They're training and learning all the time. So they're doing everything possible to do what we're asking of them.
Do they have evaluators who look at that and then say, okay, well, you're going to have a regional, or you're going to have the national meeting?
Yes, and then we also evaluate them.
Okay.
So our judges assigning system committee has put together like a survey sheet.
Okay.
After every meet, you can go in and evaluate each one. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, depending on, because I think for the most part, we have some flexibility. I don't know how flexible, but where we can do routine summaries on maybe 2 scores that we didn't see, and we'd just like to know a routine summary you turn in on a student athlete who you're not quite sure where the scores came from, so you'd just like to see, so we can educate them, because we, for the most part, know. We can see the half, tenth, or whatever, and come up with the score or not. When we had one incident this weekend at Auburn on one of our kids that one judge threw a 9.9 and one judge threw a 9.5. Those are 2 completely different routines.
What did they see?
And we have to get, and that's something where
it's like stepping out of bounds.
Because they had a 10-0 start value, if the start values are the same, you're not allowed to inquire, which an inquiry you put in, and you're basically going, okay, we want to know where the deductions came from and why you don't have the same start value, because if you don't have the same start value, they have to conference and someone, the meet referee, will come and step in and figure it out, because they have to have the same start value. And if, say, one start value was a 9.8 and one was a 10, they were 0.2 down.
Yeah.
If they missed a skill or some some element that was worth 0.2 bonus or something, you didn't see there this or the other thing. Oh yeah, that was in there. The score has to come up. So they will change the score.
How often does that happen?
Very rarely.
Very rarely.
And usually it's by a half a tenth or a tenth. Not often enough, because the routine summaries, if you get back, a routine summary can maybe prompt you to put in an inquiry and get a tenth or half a tenth back. So it is very kind of strategic as to the thing you have to understand too, is that you put in an inquiry and the judge decides to not raise their start value. Like, I didn't see this, and whether you saw it or not, I'm sticking to my guns. It could lower your score.
All right, let's take 5 minutes and talk about your athletes.
Mm-hmm.
We saw what Nikki did in the all-around. Fantastic.
Almost tied the school record.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to think of Michigan State gymnastics without her being there.
Yeah.
Can you talk about what she has meant and some of the other seniors?
Yeah. By the way, she just today it was announced she got Big Ten Gymnast of the Week. Nikki
Gymnast
did.
of the Week.
Yeah, she beat
She
Jordan
was
Childs.
Big Ten Gymnast of the Year last year, right?
She's doing some good things.
Pretty incredible. When you beat Jordan Childs for anything.
Yeah.
Except maybe a dunking competition. Yeah.
But Jordan Childs, bless her, will shout out to Nikki for, good job and that kind of thing. It's pretty cool.
So what has she meant? And she have better gymnastics performances ahead of her the rest of the year.
Oh, yes. And that's her. She's a gamer nonstop. And she always wants to know, what it's going to take her to get that perfect 10. She's got them before, and she still wants them this year.
Kid from Michigan.
Yep. Bloomfield here. Yeah.
So what she has done, it's hard to compare gymnasts across eras, but has there been a better all-around gymnast at Michigan State than Nikki?
Gabby and her were back and forth.
Yeah,
Gabby, her, and Skyla before Skyla to injured. The three of them were just boom, boom, just, neck and neck. And I think as they mature, as they, grow with the program every year, she's, other than, we're being thoughtful of her training and all this kind of stuff because she has some chronic issues and we don't want to take her out, especially with postseason coming up. Yeah. So, resting her here or there or not training her as much as she would rather, she wants to do the numbers and we're like we can't have you sore and not moving tomorrow because we need to be the consistency. Yeah. So, and she understands. Yeah. So it's, she's holding the record right now and she'll probably beat the record by the end of the season, which would be amazing.
Other seniors, classmates for her?
Sage.
Sage Kellerman.
2-event specialist of the year last year.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It was just nominated for it again this year. She's Olivia Zarmani coming back as an all-arounder this year, but she was in and out and in and out. She's back on 3 events right now and had a stellar meet against Auburn this last week. So, great to have her back in bars, beam, and vault. And she did a floor routine today. Just in the gym. So I don't know if it'll
Is
show up
that
this
something that we'll
weekend
see in competition moving forward?
Could be. We have tomorrow off. We have Thursday, Friday practice, and the meet's not till Sunday. So seeing how she holds out this week, we obviously don't want to set her back for any of the other events because 3 is good, but no events is not good.
You'd rather have
We'd rather have a little than none.
Yeah. What about your new performers this year and what they have done for you? You're always dealing with injury. I don't know how more gymnasts aren't injured. I mean, it's just
they all are.
They just play through it.
They just play through it, and they just got chronic issues. It's like the seniors right now are like the grannies, and they feel it. And we have conversations all the time. I'm like, I'm a little older than they are, but trust me. I'm like, when you wake up in the morning and you can't put your feet on the floor, you remember why. So, and no one wants them to go through that, but it's they're still passionate about the sport. That last day of nationals, the national championships or whatever, there or not, it's like it's over. They're done. They're not coming back into the gym unless they
and they're not going
try out
to
for
Europe to play
or something like
basketball
that.
for 10 years.
No,
right? It's not that kind of thing.
So it's some of them are a little relieved because then they can start to heal. And
do they really do Cirque du Soleil?
I have an athlete who was my Eagle Bar champion at the University of Pittsburgh back in 2010.
Wow.
And helped her audition for Cirque back at Pitt. She was my Eagle Bar champion, and just when she came in to clear out her locker room and when she graduated, she was devastated. She had a breakdown. And I was like, did you ever think about Cirque just for the heck of it? Cirque is a big deal. Yeah. But
I've seen it many times out in Las Vegas. I love it.
Hundreds of thousands of people that auditioned from, international, from all over the place. And we trained for, I want to say, about 2 years. I trained in the morning with her because she was doing her graduate program at Chatham. Long story short, she was about ready to throw in the towel because we'd been sending in videos and all this kind of stuff, and it wasn't happening. She was getting ready to move down to Tennessee to go for her doctorate in psychology. literally packed the moving van and was getting ready to drive like the next day. She's like, Mike, Cirque called me and they want my measurements. They want my sizes. And I was like, she's like, what does that mean? And I was like, you're going to Vegas. And she was in Vegas for a year in Viva Elvis.
Okay.
And we just went out to see her last summer. And she's back in Vegas now. And she's been doing Cirque since 2010.
Wow.
And she found her husband there. She met a Russian guy who's in Mystere, and she's in now.
Yes,
and they bought a house in Las Vegas, and
nice.
She's been doing gymnastics and learned so many different things that you would never know. I mean, she's aerialist and hoops and swinging from 50 feet above the stage without a net, and I'm just like, get down. Things you would never. Yeah. So one kid out of, I don't know how many kids I've coached in 20 years, but she's loving every minute of it.
If you enjoy gymnastics and if you are a fan of Michigan State gymnastics and you're going out there for the Frozen Four, people say, well, I want to see a show. I want to do this. I always tell them, if you haven't seen Cirque du Soleil, you haven't seen Vegas.
Right.
So 2 things very quickly. Can you give me a performer, can be a young performer on this team, who has exceeded your expectations at the start of the season? A pleasant surprise.
God, there's a couple of them. Corinne Marquardt, from Texas.
Mm-hmm.
She's solid in our floor and vault lineups right now.
Okay.
And just having the time of her life. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the kid is she comes to practice every day, and you can just tell the look on her face. She's so grateful and so thankful to be a Spartan and be having this opportunity. She's, scored 9 9s, floor and vault.
Right.
And like, that's just one of them. I mean, there's so many from last year's teams who might not have contributed as much that have taken a jump.
Yeah.
One of them fell, because of injury, she's out for the season or whatever. Yeah. But there's, so many kids that have just risen that I think the leadership we had last year, along with this year's leadership or whatever, is just pushing kids to, raise their own bar. We raise the bar for them, and they do everything they can to try to meet it. And, I feel blessed that that part of the culture is working and hopefully continually,
The last meet of the season in Jenison, the last in some performers' careers coming up, right? What can you tell us about this? And let us know when it is so that maybe some of our listeners who want to stop by, they can certainly do that. We've got a lot of other things going on campus. They've got Michigan High School Athletic Association basketball tournaments. So, good luck with the parking. But
I was going to say,
but tell us,
I am West.
Tell us what we're going to see in the last meet.
We have an Ivy School coming in. We have Brown coming in.
Brown.
Yeah. Coming in for senior night, which is Sunday at 2 at Jenison Fieldhouse.
Okay.
Not ranked, but very reputable program in the Ivy League in that conference. And
would you rather have that kind of a meet as the home finale, or at this point of the season to get you ready for Big Tens, et cetera?
I guess I don't really have a template or anything to follow when it comes to that or whatever, because like I said, these guys are going to raise the bar no matter what.
Right.
Senior night, for some reason, and knock on wood, these kids light up even more. I mean, and we've done 198s on the road twice last year, and we've done a 198 at home on senior night.
Right.
So it's a whole different experience because obviously you're celebrating our seniors. If there are seniors that maybe haven't scratched the surface or made a lineup or whatever, we'll put them in exhibitions. So there may be some new faces in lineups because, we're emphasizing the seniors and their last meet or whatever. We have their parents come down on the floor for their last event. So they get to be literally down there with them. We shower them with flowers after their event. And then we have a presentation of, shadow boxes, just like most of the other sports do at the end. And
so if you've never had a chance to see Michigan State women's gymnastics, this is your chance. Sunday afternoon against Brown, and the start time is
2 p.m.
2. And if you've never had a chance to see Nikki Smith, this is it, unless you plan to go to nationals.
Yep.
And follow Michigan State.
One of those regional
there.
spots or nationals.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Mike, thanks so much for coming in. Really appreciate it. When this is all done, I'd like you to come back in and bring Nikki.
All right.
Can we do that?
Of course.
Yeah. She's a performer.
Oh, yeah.
She'll do it. All right. Thanks so much. We will be right back, and I see in studio Keyshawn Summerville, all-time leading scorer, Lansing Sexton, and one of my favorite athletes to watch the last few years, ending an incredible high school career and getting ready for the next step. We're going to talk with Key in just a minute about basketball and more coming up on The Drive with Jack.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graph of Okemos. Some great product here in early 2026.
You got it, Jack. Here at Chevy, we have, backed by popular demand, the all-new Bolt. Redesigned and back in full force for us. People are really excited about that vehicle. It did great for us in the past.
Great.
And then next door, the Nissan Sentra, completely redesigned for that model. Great fuel economy. It's going to be a hot seller for us.
Stop and see Matt and the gang at Graph of Okemos. They're making friends.
Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our team of school bus drivers and attendants. Visit deanjobs.com to see all openings. Dean Transportation provides paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license, increased starting pay, comprehensive benefits, and flexible schedules with no weekend shifts. No experience needed. Apply today at deanjobs.com and train for back to school season. That's DEAN jobs.com.
Hey, Jack, you love a good gift card.
Yes, Jeremy, I do.
One North makes it even better. Reload your One North gift card now through January for 15% off and keep those good meals coming. Lunch, dinner, happy hour, covered. Reload it, use it, repeat. One North Kitchen and Bar.
Where gift cards keep giving.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graph of Okemos. Great time to get a great vehicle.
Fantastic time, Jack. 0% financing is back. Hard to believe this time right now we can get a vehicle with 0 interest.
Wow.
And if you're looking to pay cash, how about rebates up to $10,000? That's unheard of lately, right? $10,000 off on a vehicle. How about leasing? You want to lease? You can lease a vehicle right now in the low 3s. Come on out and take a look.
You're talking everyone's language. Stop and see Matt and the gang. They're making friends.
Welcome back. It is the Drive with Jack Spotlight Radio Network. We're going to switch from college gymnastics to high school basketball and beyond. I want to welcome in Keyshawn Summerville. He is the all-time leading scorer in Sexton history. We're talking about Big Reds and J-Dubs together. And you have a special guest that you brought in the studio with you, right?
Yeah.
You want to give her a shout-out?
Natalia Sutter, my girlfriend. Big shout-out to her.
Yeah.
5 years deep.
5 years. Wow, that's a
long
a lot
time.
of marriages don't last that long. That's terrific. Where'd you meet her?
Wow. Let's go all the way back to like middle school, like 6th grade. Waverly basketball game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Quite of a journey.
You mentioned Waverly.
Mm-hmm.
And you were telling me a story during the break.
Yeah.
About you and Mr. Basketball, Kelvin Torbert Jr.
Yeah.
And you and KJ could have played on the same high school team?
We really could have. We Man, we still talk about that to this day of like what it could have been, but yeah, we were supposed to 8th grade summer. We were playing summer league with Waverly and all that. And yeah, but everything has a reason. So
what kind of combo would you two have been?
Man, I don't even know. Like, just unstoppable.
Only one ball, but you're both willing to share it. Right?
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. That would have been some crazy. We would have probably won 4 state chips by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So coming down to the end of the game, you're down 1. You and KJ are in the backcourt together.
Yeah.
What play do you run? Who gets the shot? I suppose if it's a 70-foot shot, they'd give it to you, right?
I mean, I feel like during that situation, just whoever's most hot that game, like whoever's hit some threes or anything, because me and him are both so unselfish. So we probably would trust in each other to make that shot.
So I thought that you both had a chance to get to Breslin Center.
Yeah.
Let's start with your situation and how it ended. And you'd had so many exciting moments. What was it like walking off the court for the last time?
Man, walking off that court the last time, like when we lost, like when the buzzer ended, I didn't like get emotional right then and there. Like it didn't hit me until like when we got in the locker room, and I was just like, wow, it's really over. Like that was my last time ever wearing a Sexton jersey. Last time ever playing a high school game. Like, you know, it hurt. It really did. But it's just, you know, the journey continues. And, I can't dwell on it. I was pretty sad for like past couple of days, but, you know, I have bigger plans ahead and just been locking in on the future and what's next. So
we're talking with Showtime Keyshawn Summerville. And for those who are watching the video here, and you see that you're sporting a little bandage on your nose here that wasn't your girlfriend. She didn't clobber you, right?
No.
It wasn't your pet.
Mm-mm.
No? You want to explain how you got that?
Just got a little scratched up during the game. You know, I think I went up for a layup or whatever and just left a pretty bad scratch. So, I mean, I didn't want to like
you didn't break your nose.
Yeah, I know. Luckily, I feel like if it was his fist, it probably would have been like just a scratch. So I got scratch marks. I got one on my shoulders, my chest. You know, this past like the playoff run, I got pretty banged up. You know, but it's just crazy. Got a lot of scratches, a lot of places.
Battle scars, that's okay.
Oh yeah,
right?
for sure.
Makes you look tough.
Oh yeah. Especially this one though. But you know, I want to put a Band-Aid over it. Once it heals, maybe it could.
How long you gonna be wearing the Band-Aid?
Probably maybe like a couple more days. Probably take it off. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. What about the rest of the high school tournament now? You got quarterfinals tonight. Then the semis and then the finals.
Yeah.
Is it gonna be hard for you to watch that?
You know, last year I went to the games like at the Breslin, and it did kind of hurt because I knew we were supposed to be in that situation, but you know, one of my best friends is more than likely going to play at the Breslin, KJ.
Yeah.
So I'll go out there and support him for sure, you know, because I know he'd do the same for me.
Yeah. So if East Lansing wins back-to-back championships, he's such a good friend. Would he give you one of those championships?
Nah, he wouldn't give me one of them, but we'd for sure probably go get something to eat after the game, or I don't know, because like with me and KJ, a lot of people make it as like a rival.
Yeah,
I don't know why,
like
but we've just been best friends since kids. Like we were on the same AAU team in 8th grade summer, same AAU team. Like we were killing, and then a lot of people they like to rival like that. But me and KJ, it's just all love. That's like a brother to me.
What's the best thing about being a friend of his, and what would he say if I asked him what's the best part about knowing Key?
I'd say because not so many people get to know the outside of KJ. They see him for the basketball, but when I get to know him for like his personality and like how he is, and he's such a good person, and like we work out together and stuff like that. So it's always like fun working out, and then we talking after like non-basketball related. So it's just always just fun. It's like two great players coming up from Lansing. Like why do we like not be best friends?
All right, what's your height right now?
I'm 5'10".
So how often have you dunked on KJ?
Not at all, but I'm sure he when we played him this year, he dunked like 4 times. I was like, bro, he's gonna break the rim.
Yeah. All right, let's talk a little bit about your career and getting the scoring record. When you came in last time, you had on arguably the coolest jacket.
Oh yeah,
I think I've ever seen. It might be getting a little warm for that.
Yeah.
But in terms of what you did, and you look back on your career, what's the most satisfying part and what's the most frustrating?
The most satisfying part, I would say, coming into Sexton, my freshman year, the program hadn't won anything in like 12, 15 years since Denzel and Carlton and all them.
Yeah.
And just coming in and turning the program around, like from day one, we first decided to come to Sexton. We told the athletic director, we're going to change things around. Like, we're not going to have this reception on Sexton. And just doing that and accomplishing so much in the span of 4 years is just insane, because not too many people could do that. And it wasn't just me. It took a group of us to come in and really do it. And the most frustrating part is coming so short from the Braves and what we really wanted to do. Because, like, I feel like if we would have won the game on last week, we would have won the state chip for sure.
Yeah.
Because that was probably one of the most hardest games we can have to face.
So you're an outgoing guy. You're a popular guy. You talk to people. You don't walk around like you're some star who invented basketball, right? But in school now, everyone knows you. You're approachable.
Yeah.
How are you seen? Do they look at you as another athlete or as a hero?
I don't know. I think some kids see me as like a regular athlete, and some kids in the school see me as like a superhero, because not too often they see a player like that's done like what I've did, like come through the halls of Sexton, and like, some kids, they're gonna tell their kids about that, like when they get older. I went to school with Keyshawn Summerville, not to like brag or anything about that, like, cause I'm, but it's just like that's just what it is, and it's just crazy. But some kids see me, some kids see me don't. So
your favorite game you've played in a Sexton uniform was?
Favorite game. Shoot,
you could play one over, or it's the only one you could watch the rest of your life.
I'd probably say sophomore year we played Everett at the Don Johnson Fieldhouse. It was a rival game. It was packed. Like the stands were packed, and that game I think I had like 36 points. It just felt amazing against a rival too. Like, because when you win against a rival, it just feels so good, especially when you do good.
And the one game you'd want to play over because the result you still can't believe.
Chelsea versus Sexton. Like, it's so crazy. It came down the last 3 minutes. It came down the last 3 minutes. It's, insane.
Yeah. All right, let's talk a little bit about the future. And your college choices are coming down. I've talked to a certain coach in this state about you, and he loves you.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you're going to go there, but a lot of people thinking, you look really good in Rochester.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's actually crazy, because so many people, they say that, like, that would be a perfect fit for me. And it's just kind of funny because, like, the conversations I have with my dad and my family, it's like people all think alike. It's just so funny. And they just had an amazing point guard. I think his name was Brody. Brody Robinson, is that his name?
Yes.
He's a dog. He's only 5'10", 5'11",
right.
And he's leaving next year. So, but,
he's had a lot of those kinds of guards over the years, and he's had a lot of years to have them.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's got over 700 wins. We're talking about Greg Campy, of course. And, we don't want to diminish any of the other schools. What other schools are you still looking at?
Youngstown State, Eastern Kentucky. You have Miami of Ohio that is currently 31-0 right now.
Yeah.
And then we are talking to Green Bay as well. So I'm probably kind of down to like 5-4. I'm just going through the process with my family, like, okay, what's the benefits about this school? What's the ifs? What's the buts? But it's for sure a process and a long journey, because it's really important you make the right decision, because this is where I'm going to be at next year and maybe possibly the next 4 years. So
how important is the coach? In that decision?
I mean, the coach is everything, because, like, a certain coach, like, if you see Darius Acuff
down at Arkansas,
Coach Kyle, he let him, do what we got to do, and he's going to go to the NBA next year.
He is.
So it just really depends on what coach and, like, what type of player you are and what type of style, you play, and does that coach, is he going to allow that style,
There's a guy who played at Oakland, and he's still one of my all-time favorite players. It was Kay Felder.
Oh, my goodness, yeah. I just watched his highlights the other day from at Oakland.
Yeah. They nearly beat Michigan State, and he's done so many other things, and then he goes on, and he was LeBron's guy with the Cavaliers. And an amazing, amazing career. Still the greatest player I think has ever played at Moneyball.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. The Moneyball events?
Yeah.
Back in the day at Aim High?
Yeah.
Those were the best. Them were the best times right there. I had my blue slushie, had my ball next to me, and we'd be there all night just watching hoops.
It's all the guy needs is a blue slushie and his basketball, right?
Yeah. Them slushies were the best.
All right. When are you going to make your decision, and how are you going to do it? I want to invite you, right, and your whole family to come into the studio, and if you want to make an announcement, we'll make it Summerville Day.
Oh, yeah, that'd be so sweet.
Right?
Yeah.
And, I did cover your dad back a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
But, if you wanted to do that, we're available on YouTube and all the platforms now, and we'll blow it out.
That'd be amazing. Yeah. I'd probably say in the next, 3-4 weeks,
We'll
probably.
talk.
Yeah, so we're for sure going to talk. That's a great idea. Yeah, we'll for sure talk about that.
All right. In terms of the future now and what you need to work on, okay?
Mhm.
You obviously have a lot of plus skills.
Yeah.
What's the one thing you most want to improve on before you start college basketball?
Probably my weight. I'm currently 154 right now, and I want to get up to 165. So 10 pounds of muscle. I've been taking probably the next week or so just to get off, relax my mind off basketball, and then I'm just gonna hit the weights and just eat as much as I can. I want to at least put on 10 pounds of muscle before I go to college, for sure.
So, how much attention are you paying to college basketball tournaments now this week? Did you watch the Michigan State game?
Yep.
Sunday, and NCAA tournaments? Are you following this, watching every game you can?
Yeah, and that's important because next year I'll be at the college level, and I want to see how do you guys play at the next level? How can my game fit into this college style? And I just watched the Horizon League semis yesterday. Detroit Mercy, Coach Montgomery. They beat RMU yesterday.
Yeah.
And then I watched the Michigan State game with her actually at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Okay.
And then March Madness, this can be something else.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to sit down every game and just really lock in because it's so many good games.
What's your take on Jeremy Fierce Jr.? Do you know him? Have you worked against him? Have you scrimmaged against him?
Jeremy Fierce Jr., he's one of my good friends. Whenever I need advice or anything, I just go to him, and we've played against each other a little bit. My sophomore year.
You don't get technical fouls away. That's all right.
No. But my sophomore year and this past year, actually, in the summer at Grind Week with MSU, where all the alumni come back, we go up and down and stuff. So, and he always tells me, he's always on me a little bit, Key, you could do this better. Even though you're doing this, but you could always do a little better. So I always keep that in the back of my mind that there's always room for improvement, even if you're balling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's great to have you here again. Congratulations on your incredible career.
Thank you.
Ended a couple games sooner than I wanted.
I know.
And you too, right?
Yeah, man.
But we'll be watching you for a long time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it big time.
Keyshawn Summerville, the leading scorer in Lansing Sexton storied history. When we're talking about a couple of runs with back-to-back championships or multiple championships, right? There aren't many schools that can say they have had that. I want to thank all of our guests today. Talking about Mr. Basketball, and that is Keyshawn's good friend, KJ Torbert, and we had his dad, Kelvin Torbert, KT, who was Mr. Basketball 25 years ago from Flint Northwestern, and then on to a excellent career at Michigan State and helping the Spartans to the 2005 Final Four. Jim Stark, Detroit correspondent, joining us from Florida before he left, down there watching some spring training, talking about the World Baseball Classic, and also the Detroit Pistons. I don't know how you lose a 23-point lead to the Brooklyn Nets. I can't explain that. Also, I want to thank Allen Trieu. He is our Midwest regional correspondent now for Rivals. Appreciate all the insight. Mike Rowe, MSU women's gymnastics coach. Terrific performance, 197.700 last meet. Their final meet Sunday. And Keyshawn Summerville. Have a great night, everyone.